time to pull in the oars of this tiny boat and take a rest. Anybody identify with that invitation? Kind of get quiet and let life go on doing whatever it is and just be present in that. I'm not talking about being lazy or idle, but I'm just talking about taking a break, taking a rest from whatever it is. Now, some people may be busy, which is what I've chosen here, as far as a calendar goes or work or whatever. But I know for darn sure every single one of us have a busy mind. Is that true? A busy mind, trying to figure stuff out. And what I know is there's a time and a place and a season for everything. You know that song, Turn, Turn, Turn? There's a time and a purpose for everything under heaven, and there is a time to quiet our minds, to take a day of rest. And in choosing this talk title, I had an opportunity to spend some time kind of looking at how I live my life. My life is very different today than it's ever been before. It's simple, it's quiet, it's easy. I don't have a lot of responsibility anymore. Don't have a lot of stuff anymore. And I need to embrace this idea of resting because I do have a busy mind. My mind is busy. My mind is always thinking, worrying, planning, figuring out, analyzing. Does anybody else do that? Yeah, especially when I turn on the news, especially when I watch TV. So when I started looking at how I'm living my life and exploring ideas of the master teachers, I thought, there's a different way to be in the world. I can learn a way to be in the world that's about resting. And I like this idea that Robert read from the Daily Word. We can rest for a day, we can rest for an hour, and we can rest for a moment within whatever is going on. This is the practice that Tom is so deeply involved with, that mindfulness moment that pays attention to the details of every single beating second. And when we do that, we align ourselves with our very divine purpose, whatever that is. See, beyond our human doing and our human thinking, when we take time to rest, to step aside, to go within, to take time away from whatever this human being, doing, thinking thing is, there's a sense of peace about that. There's a sense of calm about that. We can enter that place of serenity and quiet. What I know is my life's full of lots of changes. It's been changing. Most of it, matter of fact, all of it, without my permission. Stuff's going on in the world without my permission. My mom and I were talking about my niece who's going to be going to India for a wedding in a few days, and we're trying to figure out what city she's going to, and we're hoping it's not Delhi because they're passing out masks for everybody to wear, especially the children, because the air quality is so bad. See, there's a lot of stuff to think about, isn't there? If we don't have enough to think about in our own lives, to worry about in our own families, then we can just sort of think about what's going on in India when our niece goes for a wedding. We've always got something to think about. See, if we're not busy like this, we're busy up here. That's just the way it is. I like that old story about the guy that goes galloping by on a horse, just, fast, and the guy on the side of the road said, "Hey, where are you going?" And the guy on the horse says, "I don't know, ask the horse." I don't know, ask the horse. Sometimes that's the way our minds work, isn't it? We get so involved in whatever the chaotic world is bringing us. Everything is so uncertain, so unchanging, and so changing and so scary that we just sort of ride the galloping horse and we're not quite sure where we're going. And we need to learn and cultivate the great gift and the skill of putting on the brakes, of saying, whoa, horse, so that we can actually take time to rest. Because I know my life is all about wanting to control stuff, fix stuff, manage stuff, make sure it's going right. Yeah? Anybody relate to that? And if it's not about my life, I try to control someone else's life. Right, Mom? It's hard to get everything done, especially to get done on time. And that's really the human reality, isn't it? We came here in a people suit, and we got stuff to do. We got things to accomplish. We've got ideas and plans and all this stuff. But there's a time and a place for revving up. I was talking to someone before service today, and she said, I figured out what happened, figured out why I haven't been doing so well. She said, I had the adrenaline on go, and I forgot to turn it off. She was revved up. And then there is a time for revving up. There's a time to get busy and make plans and do what you got to do. But when we have chronic revving up, we got the adrenaline running all the time, it wears us down. It overloads our bodies. It overloads our brains. And I want to ask you, how revved up are you about some of the things that you see on the news, some of the things that are going on in the world, some of the things that are going on in your own families? Do you need to sort of take your foot off that pedal and sort of allow yourself to calm down, to settle down, to slow down, to take it easy? Because when we're revved up, guess what we're doing? We're leaking a lot of our energy into that thing that's giving us stress and that's wearing us out. So what do we have to do? Maybe it's as easy as turning off the TV. Maybe it's as easy as not looking at our constant news feed on our telephone. Maybe it's, remembering that other people's business is not ours. Who knows? See? What happens when we get in this place and we're revved up like this and we're all stressed out and we're leaking energy into stuff that doesn't benefit us, guess what happens? We forget who we are. We forget our purpose. We forget to take care of ourselves. We forget to breathe. Have you ever been in a moment where you're going, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm breathing? We hold our breath. Life gets that way sometimes. What if I told you it's possible to be actively engaged in the world and still take time to be holy? And still take time to rest a weary mind, to rest a weary body. Now, what I know about that is it takes an intention. It takes an intention to stop, to take your foot off the pedal, to turn off the adrenaline. But you got to know you're doing it first, right? You got to realize and recognize that you're so revved up and that galloping horse is going so fast that you forget where you're going. And allow yourself to be quiet just for today. Maybe just for an hour. Maybe just for a moment. But pay attention to that sacred pause within whatever you're doing. The minute you notice yourself out of balance, take that sacred pause. Just let things rest for the moment. Let it be. I love the invitation on the front. I hope that you will take this and look at this week on the front of your program. This is the recommendation of Rami Shapiro. Don't try to fix stuff. Don't try to control life. See the holy in every sacred moment. See? Give yourself space to breathe. Just for today. Just for today. And it's not so much about what you're doing, because you can be busy. You can be driving to the grocery store, going to appointments, going to work, taking care of business, whatever that thing is, and still make room for the sacred pause within that thing. It's how you go about that. Are you so revved up that you forget that we're here to be these divine spirits, this allness of God expressing? We got to be careful. We've got to be able to be quiet enough to open up to the moment, whatever that is. If we don't, we're going to miss the beauty. If we don't, we're going to miss the opportunity to connect with each other, to be really present. I have the great gift of being with grandbabies, great-grandbabies. That's the greatest gift in the world. You got to be very present when you're with a small child, or a dog, or a cat, or family, or friends. See, it's a fundamental shift in the way we're thinking. It's a shift from that revved up human doing busy thing to that, oh yeah, I can make allowance in this moment for the sacred pause. I can let myself rest into this. You know, Robert's reading talked about the Bible, the biblical idea of a day of rest. When God was finished on the seventh day, he said, it's a day of rest. It's the Sabbath. Many traditions celebrate the Sabbath. That day of rest where we slow down. You know, if you were in the Jewish tradition, especially Orthodox Jewish tradition, you wouldn't even be able to turn your lights on. You can't do anything, can't drive to the temple. It's a day of rest. Shabbat on Friday nights, if you're in a Jewish tradition. Sundown, guess what we do? We light the Shabbat candle, and we wait till everybody comes home, whoever we're expecting. We don't start eating until everybody's present. And we light the Shabbat candle, and we don't do anything else but pray, be present with each other, rest, remember who we are, remember who the others are. We wait for the candle to burn itself out. We don't rush it. We don't blow it out. We break bread. We savor life. We have the challah and we break the bread. See, that's an intention. That's a tradition. It's probably not your tradition. I know that it's Pearl's tradition. Yes. It's a tradition. But if you want to set a sacred, holy time for yourself, you got to set an intention. What does it look like? Do you have an altar at your home? Do you have a special way to celebrate and set aside a time for being sacred? Maybe it's your daily ritual of having a beverage before your meal and sitting down together with your family and saying grace and then sitting together to eat. Maybe that's your tradition, your sacred, holy moment. What is it? You gotta, and this is one of the things that's kind of puzzling me. See, for me, this sacred moment, this day of rest, this energy of resting the mind is all about preparing Sundays. It's all about getting ready to be present on Sundays, whether I'm talking or not. It's about planning. It's about the music. It's about the readings. It's about the energy. It's about the meditation. It's about the talk. It's about all of that, keeping me very present and open to the sacred, holy moment. And then when I get here, it's about that. It's really about that. Now I'm saying to myself, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now that Common Ground is not going to be meeting every single Sunday in this chapel? Anybody had that thought? So this is the deal. This is my invitation. We got to get creative. We got to get creative. What's it going to look like for us as a group, as individuals? How do we inspire each other? How do we take responsibility, personal and group, to create that sacred holy moment, that day of rest? What are we going to do? Is it going to be on a Friday when we get together with friends for dinner and we talk about important things? Is it going to be calling friends and people in our community and saying, meet me at the park? Bring your lunch and let's chat? How are we going to set that day of rest apart from everything else? How are you going to set it apart for yourself? What am I going to do when I'm not preparing a Sunday service every week after about 25 years? Yeah? I got to think about that. What's that going to look like for me? Am I going to light the Shabbat candle? Am I going to invite friends to come for dinner on Friday and let that candle burn down and break bread? I don't know, but I'm sure going to try to figure it out. See, the thing is, we have to set an intention to be holy. Not to be holy, we are holy. To take time to remember that we're holy. To take time to set apart that day of rest, that moment of rest, that rest from the weary mind that's always busy thinking about everything but our own divinity and the divinity of everybody else. See? It's not going to happen if we don't set an intention. I guarantee it. It is not going to happen. We need to pause. We need to put on the brakes. And if we don't, we're going to crash. We're going to get sick. We're going to get sick. We've got to find a way to be present with one another and with ourselves in that moment of rest. Calm down, take it easy. What's that going to look like? What's that going to look like? So your invitation, I love, Stacy introduced us to something that I really love. And the Reiki principles are perfect if you just say this to yourself in the morning when you get up, or maybe in the middle of the day when you find yourself stressing and forgetting your holiness or forgetting the sacred in the moment. The Reiki principles go like this. Just for today, just for this moment, I will not worry. Just for today and this moment, I will not be angry. Just for today, for this moment, I'll be grateful. Just for today, I will do my purposeful work in the world, honestly. And just for today, just for this moment, I will be kind to every living thing. If all you do is take that few minutes to remind yourself of the sacredness of the moment, it will benefit you. So here's your invitation. When you find yourself all revved up, when you find yourself out of balance, when you find yourself heading toward that, oh my gosh, life is too hectic, I need a day of rest, pull in the oars. Remember that you don't have to paddle all the time. You can float, you can go easy, you can take it easy. Not all the time. We got to be, productive. But within that, we can also be easy and quiet and take a rest of our mind. Take a sacred pause within whatever that thing is. Oh yeah, that's right. Appreciate the clouds. I was watching the clouds yesterday and I'm thinking, wow, it's been a long time since I saw teddy bears and lions and angels in the clouds. Sacred moment, sacred moment. Take a deep and conscious breath. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? With our mindfulness practice. That's right. Oh, that's right. Pay attention to how you walk, to how you sit, to how you make your coffee, to how you drive. Try a little bit less striving, less being busy, less racing around, less revving, less pushing. Yeah. Go soak in the tub. That's Glenda's time of rest. Go take a bubble bath. Soak in the tub. Curl up for a nap like cats do. That's what I've been doing every day around 3 o'clock. Lucy and I go lay on my bed and I try to rest. Lucy's not always cooperative. Plop on the couch. Walk on the beach. Hug the trees. Remember, this one day is filled with sacred opportunity. This one day is holy. You're in that day. Take time to remember and to rest. Thank you for listening.